Have you ever heard of a father willing to sacrifice everything to find his lost daughter? Step into the world of Jonas, a skilled fisherman with a broken heart, and Marina, a mysterious mermaid carrying the secrets of the ocean. In this emotional journey, love, hope, and compassion will be tested to their limits. Will Jonas find what he is searching for, or uncover a truth even deeper? Join us as we explore this magical tale. Once upon a time, in a small seaside village in South Carolina, where the waves of the Atlantic Ocean whispered their tales to the soft white sands, there lived a skilled fisherman named Jonas. This land was imbued with the spirit of the sea. Coconut palms swayed in the breeze, small boats nestled by the docks, and the cries of seagulls echoed every morning. Jonas was known throughout the village not only for his excellent seafaring skills, but also for his boundless love for his little daughter, Arara. Arara, as everyone often said, was the light of Jonas's life. She was the reason he woke up every morning, the comfort he sought when the burdens of life became heavy. Arara had sparkling black eyes, gleaming like precious gems, and a radiant smile like the early morning sun. It seemed the whole village adored her. But to Jonas, Arara was not just a delightful child. She was his entire world. Every early morning, as the night yielded to the first light of day, the little village awoke in peaceful serenity. The golden rays of sunlight filtered through the old wooden windows, casting their glow on Alara's soft brown hair as she lay sleeping. Jonas would always start his day by quietly sitting beside her bed, leaning down to kiss her gently on the forehead. This wasn't just a habit, it was a silent reminder of how much he loved her. "Good morning, light of my life," Jonas would often whisper, his voice warm and full of affection. Jonas had raised Arara on his own since her mother passed away when Arara was just an infant. Losing his life partner was an indescribable pain, but his love for Arara gave Jonas the strength to endure. He vowed to do everything in his power to shield her from the hardships life could bring. Even at a young age, Arara understood her father's love and sacrifices. She loved to sit on the seemingly endless beach, waiting for the silhouette of Jonas's small wooden boat to return. From afar, when the boat slowly appeared on the horizon, Arara would leap with joy, waving enthusiastically and shouting, "Daddy's back! Daddy's back!" From the boat, Jonas would always respond with a wide smile, a smile that only Arara could bring out. As he rowed the boat ashore and his feet touched the sand, Arara would run into his arms, holding him tightly as if she wanted to keep him forever. "How was your day, Daddy?" Arara would often ask, her bright eyes filled with curiosity. Jonas would sit down on the sand with Arara by his side, listening intently as he told her stories of the sea, of towering waves, shimmering schools of fish, and occasionally legendary tales passed down by his father. Jonas always believed the sea was not just a source of livelihood, but a great teacher. He taught Arara that the sea could be as gentle as a mother lulling her child to sleep, but also as fierce as a raging storm. "The sea, my dear, teaches us patience, strength, and, most importantly, the art of listening," Jonas would say. Yet, deep in his heart, Jonas always felt a vague fear whenever he looked out to the vast sea. He knew that the ocean, despite its beauty, held unpredictable dangers. At times, in the middle of the night, as the wind rustled through the window, he would wake with a start, his heart heavy with worry about whether he could protect Arara forever. But every morning, when he saw Arara wake up, her sleepy eyes bright with joy, Jonas felt his heart steady again. "Arara, you are the most precious gift your mother left for me," he said one day as they sat by the beach, his eyes filled with love. "And you are my hero," Arara replied, her smile like sunlight banishing all of Jonas's sorrows. On calm days, Jonas often took Arara out on the wooden boat, teaching her how to cast nets, row, and read the wind for navigation. With her curious and quick nature, Arara learned everything swiftly. "Daddy, one day I'll be as good a fisherman as you," she declared proudly. Such days were the ones Jonas cherished the most. In those moments, As the golden evening sun bathed Alara's sun-kissed skin, he felt life was truly worth living. The love between Jonas and Arara was not just the bond of a father and daughter, but also the driving force that kept Jonas strong in the face of life's challenges. To Arara, her father was not only her protector and teacher, but also her closest companion. And to Jonas, every moment with Arara was a treasure beyond compare. There, amidst the Carolina waves, their love shone like the sun, never fading. One morning, when Arara had just turned 7, she eagerly begged Jonas to let her go out to sea with him. Jonas initially refused, but the sparkle in her eyes and her heartfelt pleas melted his resolve. "All right, my little princess," Jonas said, his voice full of love. "But you must promise to always listen to me, okay?" Arara nodded enthusiastically, her radiant smile as bright as the sun. That day, the sea was calm and the sky was clear blue. Jonas showed Arara how to cast and haul in the nets, and she burst into joyful laughter when she caught her first fish. But the happiness didn't last long. By midday, dark clouds began gathering on the horizon. The wind picked up, and waves started crashing more fiercely. Jonas knew they had to return quickly. As he turned the boat around, a sudden rogue wave struck, tilting the boat violently. Jonas clung tightly to the side of the boat, but when he looked around, Arara was gone. "Arara, where are you?" Jonas shouted, his voice breaking against the roar of the wind. He dove into the water repeatedly, searching for his daughter amidst the raging waves. But Arara was nowhere to be found. The small wooden boat slowly cut through the water, heading out to sea under the soft light of the morning. The ocean's surface was as smooth as a giant mirror reflecting the clear blue sky, interrupted only by a few drifting white clouds. A gentle breeze carried the salty scent of the sea, tousling Alara's hair as it danced in the wind. She sat on the edge of the boat, her tiny legs swinging, her eyes shining with excitement. Jonas, clad in his simple but familiar work clothes, stood at the bow, showing Arara how to cast the net. "You must grip it tightly like this," he said, demonstrating with a smile as he saw the eager focus in her eyes. "Then throw it out strongly, understand?" Arara nodded, trying to mimic her father's movements. Though clumsy at first, she quickly grasped the technique under Jonas's patient guidance. Soon enough, she was casting the net like a little fisherman. When they pulled the net back in, a silver fish glittered in the morning sunlight, flapping wildly, making Arara laugh uncontrollably. "Daddy, I did it! I caught a fish!" she exclaimed, her laughter spreading joy across the serene scene, making Jonas break into a proud smile. But the joy was short-lived. By midday, the once clear sky began to change. Song! Heavy dark clouds loomed in the distance, blotting out the sun. The wind blew stronger, carrying an unfamiliar chill, and the ocean started to ripple, ominously. Jonas furrowed his brow, his seasoned fisherman instincts warning him that this was not a good sign. "We need to go back now, Arara," he said, his tone growing serious. He quickly turned the boat toward the shore, his eyes fixed on the advancing storm clouds, but before they could get far, a massive wave crashed into them unexpectedly. The small boat rocked violently, and Arara clung tightly to the side in fear. Jonas yelled, "Hold on, Arara, don't let go!" But the storm only grew stronger. A towering wave, like a wall of water, slammed into the boat, overturning it. Jonas clung desperately to the side, trying to keep his balance. Amid the chaos, he turned frantically to search for Arara. "Arara, where are you?" Jonas screamed, his voice drowned out by the howling wind and crashing waves. But there was no answer. Arara was gone. Jonas dove into the water, his eyes straining as he desperately searched for her small figure among the turbulent waves. "Arara!" he shouted, his voice hoarse. He dove again and again, his hands groping through the icy water. But every time he surfaced, all he could see were rolling waves and a darkened sky. Memories of Arara flashed through Jonas's mind, her laughter, her bright eyes when she caught her first fish, and her little promise, "I will listen to you, Daddy," still echoing in his ears. His heart felt as though it was being crushed. "Arara, you can't leave Daddy!" Jonas screamed, but his cries were swallowed by the wind and waves. After what felt like an eternity of futile searching, Jonas, exhausted, lay sprawled on the overturned boat, tears mingled with the salt water, streaming down his sun-weathered face. "Arara," he whispered, his voice breaking with anguish. He couldn't believe that just hours ago she had been laughing with him. And now she was gone lost to the vast, endless ocean. When Jonas returned to the shore, his legs barely carried him. The villagers had gathered, their worried eyes fixed on him as he approached alone. No one needed to ask what had happened. The vacant expression on Jonas's face said it all. The women embraced him tightly and the men patted his shoulder in silent consolation, but no words could ease the pain in the heart of a father who had lost his child. That night, Jonas sat on the shore, his eyes gazing into the distance where the waves still roared under the moonlight. He whispered into the wind, "Arara, if you can hear me, please come back. I will never let you go alone again." Yet, deep down, Jonas knew that the sea was not just a keeper of beauty, but also a guardian of secrets that might never be revealed. Arara's fate, like the waves far offshore, would forever remain a mystery, waiting for the day it might be unravelled. When Jonas returned to the village, his hands were empty and his eyes vacant, as if his soul had been swallowed by the sea along with Arara. Each heavy step he took on the path home felt like a dagger to his heart, a reminder of the most precious thing he had lost. The villagers, gathered by the shore, fell silent when they saw him return alone. No words were needed. They understood that Arara, the cheerful and beloved girl of the village, had not come back. The mournful cries of the women broke the heavy silence. An elderly man approached Jonas and gently patted his shoulder. "We will find her, Jonas," he said, his voice deep and steady. "The sea has taken many things, but sometimes it gives back." Jonas nodded, saying nothing. In his eyes, a faint hope still flickered, as fragile and dim as a lantern in a strong wind. The entire village united in an extended search. From dawn until dusk, they scoured the beaches, cast nets into the waves, and even rowed far out to sea to look for Arara. The women gathered on the shore to pray, lighting candles and singing ancient songs, as if to plead with the ocean to return the little girl to Jonas. But the sea remained silent. The waves continued to lap at the shore, bringing shells and seaweed, but no sign of Arara. Day by day, the villagers' hopes began to fade. The searches grew less frequent, and words of consolation for Jonas dwindled. Gradually, the villagers returned to their daily lives, resigning themselves to the belief that the sea had claimed Arara forever. But Jonas could not accept this reality. He refused to listen to those who told him to let go. "I know she's still alive, Babayes," he said, his voice filled with both determination and pain. "I can feel it. I will find her." Jonas gave up fishing, the vocation he had once loved and devoted his life to. His small wooden boat, once a source of pride and livelihood, now lay abandoned by the shore, covered in sand and seaweed. Instead, he spent his days walking along the beach, his gaze fixed on the distant horizon where the sea met the sky. He searched tirelessly, even knowing that the odds of finding Arara were as slim as finding a single grain of sand in a vast desert. Every morning as the sun rose, Jonas stood by the shore, waiting for a miracle. And every evening as the sun set, he returned home with weary legs and a broken heart. The villagers, though filled with sympathy, could do nothing but watch his frail figure from afar, their hearts heavy with sorrow. As time passed, words of comfort turned into hushed whispers. "Jonas needs to accept it," a woman said while watching him from a distance. "He can't keep living like this." "But who can blame him?" another replied. Arara was his entire world. Jonas paid no attention to these murmurs. He withdrew into his grief, rejecting all attempts at solace. His closest friends, those who had once shared his joys and sorrows, could no longer reach him. He became a shadow, wandering between the village and the beach, his heart weighed down like a stone. Yet, Jonas never gave up. Deep within him, a small flame of hope continued to burn, faint, but persistent. On moonless nights, he often sat by the shore, gazing at the star-filled sky and whispering, "Arara, I know you're out there somewhere. I won't stop searching for you." Each time the wind blew, carrying the sound of waves, Jonas felt as though he could hear Alara's laughter echoing from a distant place. Memories of her radiant smile, her bright eyes as she caught her first fish, became his only source of strength, keeping him going in his endless search. One night, as Jonas sat by the shore, the wind blew stronger than usual. The waves crashed against the shore, carrying a strange sound, a faint whisper. Jonas closed his eyes and listened, and in that moment, he felt as if the sea itself was speaking to him. "Arara." The whisper seemed to rise from the depths of the ocean. Jonas opened his eyes, his heart pounding. He stood and stared out at the sea, but all he could see was darkness and the waves breaking against the shore. Yet within him, a spark of hope ignited. He knew he could not give up. The sea had taken Arara, but perhaps it could also bring her back. Jonas's story is not just about the grief of a father who lost his child. It is also a lesson about love and perseverance. In those long nights by the shore, he came to understand that the sea does not merely take, it also teaches the strength of hope. The villagers, though they never spoke of it, quietly admired Jonas for his unwavering love for Arara. The villagers often told Jonas's story to their children and grandchildren as a reminder. Even when the sea takes what we love, love and hope can never be washed away. That night, the full moon hung high in the sky, its silvery light blanketing the tranquil shoreline. Gentle waves lapped against the shore like the ceaseless whispers of the ocean. Jonas sat quietly on the sand, his gaze fixed on the distant horizon where the sea met the sky. His heart felt heavy, as though a massive stone pressed upon it. He had grown accustomed to this emptiness, a nameless, lingering sorrow that had clung to him since the day Arara disappeared. In that serene moment, the soft sound of footsteps on the sand broke the silence. Jonas looked up and saw Mama May, the village's eldest elder, revered by all for her ancient tales and deep understanding of the sea. Her stooped figure moved gently in the breeze, her silver hair flowing softly, yet her eyes shone brightly as if holding a treasure trove of wisdom. "Jonas," she spoke, her voice warm and gentle, as though she feared adding to his pain. "I know how deep your sorrow runs, but you cannot let it consume your life. The sea has taken much, but it never takes everything." Jonas turned away, his eyes cast down to the sand. "How can I live without Arara?" he asked, his voice breaking as if speaking her name alone would shatter him completely. Mama May lowered herself beside him, her frail hands resting on her knees. She remained silent for a moment, as if weighing her words carefully, and then she spoke slowly. "Jonas, have you ever heard of the legend of the Sea People?" Jonas frowned slightly, his brows knitting together. "The Sea People," he repeated, his voice tinged with curiosity. Mama May nodded, her gaze drifting as though she could see images from a distant past. "They are beings who dwell in the depths of the ocean, part human, part fish. For generations, our people have believed that they possess extraordinary powers, capable of things beyond human understanding. It is said they can see into the hearts of others, knowing their pain and deepest desires." Jonas froze, a flicker of hope lighting up in his eyes, a feeling he had not experienced in many months. "Then, can they help me? Can they bring Arara back?" He grasped Mama May's hands, his eyes pleading as though her words were his last lifeline. Mama May hesitated, her expression clouded with concern. "Jonas, listen to me. The Sea People are not ordinary beings. They are powerful, but they are also dangerous. Interfering in their world does not always lead to good outcomes." Jonas tightened his grip on her hands, his voice breaking. "I'm willing to do anything, Mama May. If there's even a chance to bring Arara back, I don't care about the consequences." Mama May shook her head, her voice dropping to a grave tone. But what if the consequences take more than what you have already lost, Jonas? The sea people do not help without expecting something in return. Every miracle comes with a price. Her words hung heavy in the air like a shadow, but Jonas could not let go of the faint hope that had just sparked in his heart. Mama May, he said, his voice resolute, whatever the cost, I will pay it. Nothing in this world is more important than bringing my daughter back. Please, tell me how to find the sea people. Mama May gazed at Jonas, her eyes reflecting the pain of watching him consumed by despair. She knew that nothing she said would deter him. After a long pause, she sighed. If you are truly determined, then listen carefully. On the night of the full moon, when its light shines directly upon the water, stand on the largest rock along the shore, cast into the sea something you hold most dear, and pray with all your heart. If the sea people wish it, they will come. Jonas froze, his heart pounding in his chest. Thank you, Mama May. I will do as you say. A few days later, the full moon rose. Its brilliant light illuminated the sea, creating shimmering silver paths across the water. Jonas stood on the largest rock, gripping a small necklace tightly in his hand, the most precious thing he owned, the only keepsake left from Arara. The necklace, adorned with a small shell pendant, was a gift he had given her on her 7th birthday. He lifted the necklace, gazing at it under the moonlight, and whispered, Arara, I will find you, even if it means facing the entire ocean. Jonas bowed his head, murmured his prayers, and then let the necklace fall into the water. It sank, creating small ripples across the surface. Jonas stood still, waiting, his heart racing in his chest. Time passed, and nothing happened. Jonas began to feel a sinking disappointment, but then a strange, radiant blue light began to rise from beneath the water. The sea suddenly grew unnaturally calm, and a voice echoed, soft yet commanding, Jonas, you have summoned me. From the depths, a figure emerged. It was a being with the upper body of a human but the lower half of a shimmering silver tail. Its eyes were deep and fathomless, as though containing the entire ocean within. What do you seek, Jonas? The sea person asked, their voice resonating with power. Jonas dropped to his knees, tears streaming down his face. I want my daughter back. Arara, I am willing to do anything. The sea person regarded him silently, then spoke. You have taken much from the ocean, its fish and its children. You must pay the price for disrupting nature's balance. What you ask is not impossible, but remember, every magic has its cost. Jonas nodded, his voice trembling. I accept. Whatever the price, I will pay it. Just bring my daughter back. The sea person gazed deeply into his eyes, then smiled faintly. Return here on the next full moon. I will give you your answer. Jonas left the rock, his heart filled with both hope and dread. What awaited him on the next full moon? Would the ocean return Arara? Or would it demand even more? Jonas knew he was embarking on an irreversible journey, but he could not turn back. His love for Arara was all he had. Time passed like the relentless flow of the ocean, cold and unforgiving. For months, Jonas devoted all his time to searching for the sea people. He wandered along countless shorelines, questioned old fishermen, and listened intently to folk tales and legends, hoping to uncover a clue that would lead him to the mystical beings Mama May had described. But all his efforts ended in vain. One stormy night, the sky seemed to crack open as thunder roared. Strong winds howled and the waves raged, hurling rain like whips against his skin. Yet Jonas was undeterred. He walked along the beach, his thin coat clinging to his body, his eyes scanning the thick darkness. His heart clung to one single purpose, to uncover the answers the ocean had concealed. As lightning split the sky, Jonas heard an unusual sound, soft yet resonant, cutting through the howling wind. It was a song unlike anything he had ever heard. It wasn't human, nor was it the sound of the waves. The melody was silken, sorrowful like longing, and so enchanting that Jonas felt as if his entire being was drawn to it. Without realizing it, he stopped, his feet seemingly pulled toward the source of the song. It must be them, Jonas thought, his heart pounding. The sea people. He moved forward, his eyes wide, searching for the origin of the sound. The melody grew clearer, leading him to a secluded corner among large rocks. As Jonas approached, a flash of lightning illuminated a small figure perched on one of the rocks amidst the rain. He froze, holding his breath. Before him sat a young girl with pale, blue-tinged skin, long silken hair cascading over her shoulders, and a shimmering silver tail where her legs should have been. The light from her tail reflected the lightning, creating a scene both magical and haunting. Jonas couldn't tear his eyes away from the being before him. "This is the answer," he whispered, his hand clenching into a fist. Hope surged in his chest, tempered by fear and desperation. Without thinking, Jonas lunged forward like a cornered beast. He grabbed the girl, pulling her from the rock. "You will help me bring Arara back," Jonas shouted, his voice booming amidst the thunder. His eyes were wild, glowing with the madness of a desperate father. The girl struggled, her pearl-like eyes wide with fear and confusion. "Let me go!" she cried, her voice echoing like a bell in the night. "You don't know what you're doing." But Jonas did not listen. He held her tightly as if she were his last hope. "I don't care who you are or what you want. You must help me. You must bring Arara back to me," he demanded, his voice hoarse from shouting. The girl stopped struggling, her eyes softening as if she understood Jonas's pain. "I cannot return what the sea has taken," she said, her voice gentle but filled with authority. "But you must understand, nothing comes for free. Are you willing to pay the price?" Jonas froze, his breath ragged. "A price? I'm willing to pay any price. Just bring Arara back to me." The girl tilted her head, her wet hair framing her small face. "You do not understand, mortal. The price of the sea is not gold or treasure. Sometimes it is the most precious thing you have." Jonas clenched his fists, determination blazing in his eyes. "I have nothing more precious than my daughter. If it costs me my life, so be it." The girl studied him for a long moment, as if peering into the depths of his soul. "Very well," she said, her voice lowering like the whisper of the waves. "I will lead you to the place where all answers lie. But know this, once you enter, there is no turning back." She pointed toward the distance, where towering waves crashed against the rocks. "Follow me," she said, slipping gracefully into the water. Her silver tail shimmered, sending ripples of light across the waves. Jonas hesitated for a moment, then cast aside his shoes and plunged into the water. The icy waves made him shiver, but he pressed on, his eyes fixed on the gleaming tail guiding him. They swam far through the raging waves and torrential rain. Jonas had no sense of how long he had been swimming, but exhaustion crept over him. "Are we close?" he asked, his voice trembling. The girl didn't answer. She turned to him briefly, and her eyes stern. "Trust the sea, and you will find out," she replied before continuing onward. Finally, they stopped in a still, dark expanse of water. The girl turned to face Jonas, her expression serious. "This is where you will find your answers," she said. "But before you go further, remember that nothing lasts forever. Are you prepared to give up everything to bring your daughter back?" Jonas nodded without hesitation. "I've already lost everything. If this is the only way to bring Arara back, I am ready." The girl smiled, but it wasn't a comforting smile. It carried an air of mystery and foreboding. "Then step forward," she said, pointing toward a massive gate that appeared beneath the water's surface. The gate glowed with eerie blue light, like a lighthouse guiding lost souls. Jonas swam toward the gate, his heart pounding in his chest. What awaited him on the other side? Would he find Arara? Or would he lose even more than he had imagined? Only the ocean held the answers. When Jonas returned from the stormy beach that night, he brought with him Marina, a young mermaid with a shimmering silver tail, and placed her in a large wooden tub filled with seawater. He believed it was the only way she could survive, and that she might hold the key to bringing his daughter Arara back. The tub sat in the middle of Jonas's small wooden house, where the light from an oil lamp cast shimmering reflections on the water's surface, mirroring the uncertainty in Jonas's heart. At first, Marina struggled and cried. Her sobs echoed mournfully, like the roar of waves in the night. "Let me go!" she screamed, her pearl-coloured eyes blazing with anger. "You don't understand what you're doing!" But Jonas remained steadfast. He sat by the tub, his expression firm but shadowed with exhaustion and pain. "I can't let you go," he said, his voice rough. "You're my last hope. I need you to bring Arara back." In the early days, Marina refused to eat, her eyes constantly radiating suspicion and resentment. Jonas tried to comfort her, offering her fresh fish and seaweed from the ocean, but she turned away, refusing to even look at him. "You don't understand anything," Marina said, her voice breaking. "You think you can use me as a tool, but the ocean isn't so easily subdued." Jonas didn't reply. He sat quietly by the tub, his gaze pensive, as if battling his own conscience. He knew his actions were wrong, but the grief of losing his daughter clouded his judgment. Every time he closed his eyes, memories of Arara flooded his mind. Her bright eyes, her radiant smile as she hauled in her first catch. Those memories drove him to keep Marina captive, even though he knew it only deepened the pain for both of them. One day, Jonas sat down by the tub with a heavy sigh. "I don't want to hurt you," he said, his voice low but sincere. "I just want my daughter back. You don't understand the pain of a father who's lost his child." Marina looked at him, her eyes softening from anger to curiosity. "Do you think you're the only one, hun, who knows pain?" she said, her voice calm but sharp. "I have a family too, people I love. Do you think I don't miss them?" Jonas looked up at her, realizing for the first time that Marina was just a child. Her glimmering tail moved gently in the water, and in the soft light of the oil lamp, she looked like a piece of the vast ocean itself, both beautiful and burdened with a deep sorrow. "What kind of family do you have?" Jonas asked, his voice softening. Marina was silent for a moment, as if deciding whether to share her story. Then she began to speak, her voice gentle but carrying the echoes of the sea. "I live in a world you can't imagine. In the deep ocean, there are vibrant coral gardens, cities built from the largest and brightest pearls. My family lives among those gardens where everything sparkles like a dream." She spoke of her parents, guardians of the sea who taught her about balance and harmony with nature. She described mornings swimming through coral reefs, sunlight streaming through the blue waters, creating dazzling rays of light. Every word painted vivid pictures, and Jonas felt as though he had been transported to a world he had never known. Through Marina's stories, Jonas began to see that she wasn't so different from Arara, a child with a heart full of love and a longing to live in the warmth of her family. Though she still missed her home, Marina began to understand that Jonas wasn't a monster, but a father deeply scarred by loss. "Losing someone you love most is a pain unlike any other," Jonas said one day as he sat beside the tub. "I lost Arara to the sea. Can you tell me how to bring her back?" Marina looked at him, her eyes filled with empathy but also tinged with sadness. "The sea does not easily return what it has taken," she said, her voice softening. "But I understand why you can't let go. If it were me, I would do anything to protect my family too." Her words pierced Jonas's heart like a blade. He bowed his head, unable to speak. For the first time, he felt the cruelty of his actions, but at the same time, a faint glimmer of hope began to grow. Perhaps, somehow, Marina could help him. Gradually, Marina's wariness began to fade. She stopped resisting or rejecting the food Jonas offered. Instead, she started talking to him, sharing stories of the underwater world and the wonders she had experienced. Jonas listened intently, his hardened expression softening with each tale. One day, Marina said, "I'll help you, Jonas, but you must promise me one thing." Jonas looked at her, his eyes lighting up with hope. "What is it?" "I'll do anything." As Marina began guiding Jonas on how to communicate with the sea, the hope within him grew stronger. But would Marina's promise be enough to bring Arara back, or would the sea demand a price Jonas could never have anticipated? The answer lay deep within the ocean, in a place untouched by light. "You must promise not to let your pain drown you," Marina said firmly. "Whether or not you find your daughter, you must live on, for yourself and for Elara's memory." Jonas was silent for a moment, then nodded. "I promise," he said, his voice steady with conviction. That night, the world was eerily quiet. The starry sky stretched out like a sparkling tapestry, and the gentle sound of ocean waves lapping at the shore created a soothing melody. Jonas sat by the wooden tub, his thoughtful gaze fixed on Marina. The young mermaid was sharing stories of her world, a place where sea creatures lived together in harmony and love. Her voice was soft and clear, like the chime of bells, carrying a warmth Jonas hadn't felt in a long time. "Did you know," Marina began, her pearl-coloured eyes glimmering with reminiscence, "beneath the sea, every creature is connected. We don't just share the same space, we share emotions too. When a dolphin loses its mate, the whole pod gathers to console it. When a turtle returns to shore to lay eggs, the entire ocean seems to watch over it." Jonas listened in silence, a pang of emotion piercing his heart. Marina's words reminded him of Arara, her radiant smile, the times they laughed together by the shore. He realised that the love he had for Arara had never disappeared. It was still there, vibrant and strong, only buried beneath his pain. Jonas's expression softened. For the first time in months, he felt a sense of lightness. "You're right, Marina," he said, his voice warm and steady. "Love never fades. Even though Arara is no longer with me, my love for her remains here, in my heart." Marina smiled, her eyes shining with joy. "You've understood, Jonas," she said. "Love isn't about holding on tightly. It's about learning to let go. Sometimes the best way to love is to set someone free." Marina's words were like a beacon of light illuminating Jonas's soul. He looked at the young mermaid, gratitude filling his heart. "You've taught me so much, Marina," he said. "Perhaps it's time I give you back your freedom." The next morning, as the sun began to rise, Jonas woke earlier than usual. He carried Marina, still nestled in her small tub of seawater, down to the water's edge. The golden light of dawn bathed everything in a gentle glow, as if blessing Jonas's decision. Marina looked at him, her eyes glistening in the soft light. "Are you sure, Jonas?" she asked, her voice gentle yet full of understanding. Jonas nodded, carefully lifting her out of the tub. "I'm sure," he said. "Thank you, Marina. You've taught me how to love and let go. You've brought me a hope I thought I had lost." Marina smiled, a beautiful and pure smile. "Love is eternal, Jonas," she said. "Let your heart live again. And remember, Arara has never truly left you. She lives in every memory, every feeling you've shared with her." Jonas stepped into the water, his feet sinking into the cool, soothing waves. He bent down and gently placed Marina onto the water's surface. Her shimmering tail flicked slightly, creating small ripples around her. "You're free now, Marina," Jonas said, his voice deep but no longer heavy. "Return to your world." Marina gazed at him one last time, her eyes filled with gratitude. "Thank you, Jonas. I won't forget you. And I believe somewhere Arara hasn't forgotten you either." With a graceful flick of her tail, Marina glided away beneath the golden light, her tail reflecting the sunlight in dazzling beams, like a final farewell. Jonas stood there, watching her until she disappeared entirely into the depths of the ocean. As Marina swam away, Jonas felt both empty and whole at the same time. He knew he would never see the young mermaid again, but what she had left behind, lessons about love, hope, and letting go, would stay with him forever. He remained on the beach, letting the wind and waves soothe him. In that moment, the crushing weight on his heart seemed to lift. Instead, he felt a sense of release, as though a part of him had been returned to the vast ocean. Jonas walked back to the village, his steps lighter, his heart filled with a peace he hadn't felt in a long time. He knew his journey wasn't over. Even though Arara hadn't returned, he had learned to cherish the love he once had and was ready to embrace the possibilities of a new beginning. As the gentle sunrise painted the ocean with soft hues, Jonas and Marina's story didn't end with her swimming away into the golden light. It left an indelible mark on the hearts of those who heard it. Their tale became a testament to the miraculous power of love and compassion, forces that could heal even the deepest wounds and bring hope to the darkest moments. Jonas, once a father drowning in grief and loss, had rediscovered himself through his encounter with Marina, a mystical being filled with compassion and wisdom. Though held captive away from her world, Marina used love and understanding to guide Jonas, teaching him how to love and let go. The story began in despair and sorrow, but it didn't end in darkness. Jonas not only found a new path forward, but also realized that love never truly disappears. It transforms, shifting from clinging to becoming a source of strength to face reality. The memories of Arara were no longer a burden weighing him down, but a source of motivation to live well for his daughter and himself. The story of Jonas and Marina imparts a profound lesson. Love isn't about holding on, but about learning to let go. Marina showed Jonas that letting go doesn't mean forgetting, but finding peace within beautiful memories. At the same time, the story highlights the value of compassion. Marina had every reason to resent Jonas, yet she chose to understand and help him. Her actions serve as a powerful reminder that, no matter the circumstances, compassion is a bridge that helps people move beyond pain and loneliness. However, the story of Jonas and Marina is not a conclusion but a new beginning. As Marina disappeared into the sunlight, would the ocean truly restore peace to Jonas? And did the bond between them end when Marina left? Or was it merely the start of a greater, deeper story? Jonas, with his healed heart, would he find the courage to reclaim joy in life? Or would he face new challenges brought by the ocean? And Marina, the young mermaid who planted hope in Jonas's heart, would she return in another form, bringing answers he still sought? What do you think of the lesson Jonas learned? Has his journey truly ended, or are there other mysteries awaiting him? Do you believe love can heal all wounds as Marina helped Jonas discover? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you won't miss the next chapters of this extraordinary tale. Thank you for following African Tales, where stories of love, compassion, and miracles never end.